Hey, how are ya? How you doing? How you doing? So this is a property on the Allegheny River for sale. I can already tell you that I don't want it at all. As you've seen in a few videos now, I've been looking for some nice riverfront property for a long time, but I've actually started putting in offers and looking at places, and this happens to be one of them. This property looks a lot different online than it did in person. I don't think I'll be here more than 10 or 15 minutes. Let's check it out real quick. There's a lot that I don't like about it already and not much to like, but it was for sale. It's on the river and I felt obligated to come check it out. So it's not a very big lot at all. It goes from about between these two trees to where that cone is over here. So it's pretty wide frontage style, but drops right off a cliff. This is the road. I literally would barely have enough room to set up a tent right there. Nice big fire pit, which I do like. Nice overlook with trees and whatnot. Big old pile of firewood, I guess, is free if it comes with a lot, but this, no bueno. Obviously, you can't use any kind of hill when you live up on the banks of the river like that, but this is not suitable for recreation and a fun time. This is the back of the property. You can see the pink stakes, so it goes from right there to the pink stake right here, so about as wide as the frontage of the property. But I mean, this doesn't go 30-40 feet before it hits this cliff up here, which is not very suitable. The property itself goes all the way up to that well up there, which is newer, I suppose, and they put in a septic system as well. But if I wanted to build something, I would literally have to build it on that cliff and have it come out. The construction costs alone would be very, very cost prohibitive. I mean, it's definitely a cool spot. Definitely nice to have something on the river versus nothing, I suppose, but just with absolutely no room, absolutely no area to play around at all, I see no earthly reason why I would even consider a property like this. It's cool for sure. It's definitely a cool and unique property, but I see no earthly reason to even halfway consider thinking about buying this place. Essentially no room at all. I mean, my neighbors on both sides are, you know, they're always kind of close in proximity in small areas of lots like this, but literally right there, no privacy at all. Not even any room to plant any trees. Can't go back at all. Even if I built the house or cabin up there, I mean, a patio coming this way would be awesome, but there's nothing back there. It's just straight up the mountain, 3,000 feet. This guy's right here. You could tell there's like an old foundation for, yeah, an old foundation. This is man-made, this isn't natural. So at one point, somebody had something built here, and you can see there's more pieces up there. So I'm assuming at some point somebody had something built up into the hill. Here's the corner of it. That's kind of cool, a little bit of history. There is power ready to go, which is nice. Like I said, a well and septic. Yeah, this just is not for me. Would have to build up there, have absolutely no room off the back. Would have almost no room, just maybe to park a car right here. And then nothing right there, no room at all. Even having a big fire, if I have too big of a fire, it would potentially blow into the road. So this is the only river access at the property as well, unless you want to go tumbling down the hill, which I didn't even consider till right now. I couldn't even put my boat in at my own property. There's a community boat ramp about a mile downstream, and then there's another one right up here at the corner, but I would need 2 men to do that every time I wanted to come up here and bring the boat, because I can't just drop the boat off, then come park the truck, then walk back, then go get the boat, or vice versa. So that would be a real pain. That's a no-go right there. Absolutely no-go. Definitely would want to rebuild these stairs too. They're rusty and sharp. And this river access is, even with stairs, questionable at best. I don't even want to walk down these rocks. I've been in Pennsylvania on the river long enough to know there's no moss on these rocks really at all. They're going to be slippery, and just to get to where I'd anchor the boat against this beach and rocks, just to be able to tie my boat off down here and have to come up and down this in the mornings and in the evenings and when it's wet and muddy like it is now, that's just asking to break tailbones and arms. I mean, it is riverfront property. That is what I am looking for. I told myself anytime something reasonable popped up, I would make the drive and look at it, because it's worth the drive to put eyes on it and decide if I actually want it or not. The view is pretty awesome. It's definitely a nice area on the river for sure. I've never actually fished this stretch. It's a couple miles north of the farthest north I've been on the river, but it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And generally speaking, all these stretches of cabins are staggered, so there is nothing on the other side, which is super nice. There'll be a stretch on this side for a mile, and then nothing for several miles, and then there'll be a stretch on the other side and nothing on the opposite side. So it's definitely nice to always have unobstructed views across the way. And it is a very, very beautiful stretch. That is without question. You can't really see it that well, but perfect smallmouth looking conditions. You got an eddy along the entire shore with some big boulders. It looks fairly deep, so definitely a great fishing stretch. And then a nice eddy line along the other side around this point where it looks a little more shallow and gravelly. But yeah, just even looking back uphill, this is all nonsense. Couldn't even really clear this brush. It's basically just a straight drop off into the river. No beach to speak of. Basically my beach and dock would be that rock down there when the water's low enough to access it. Right now it's about 1.5 inches out of the water, so this is all nonsense and schmutz too. So definitely worth coming to take a look at, but definitely not for me either. Nowhere to put the boat in, nowhere really to do anything of any interest. Even if I didn't want to build up on that cliff right there, putting an RV right here horizontally would basically take up all the land, and I would still have less than 10 feet to the road and then less than 10 feet on this side. I just think it's a no-go. This guy also wants an insane, exorbitant amount of money for this place too. Probably 3 times what it's actually worth, but he put in a septic system and a well in the last year, and that's worth what he paid to put it in, but that doesn't make the land itself worth more than what he's asking, including the well and septic. So in my mind, it's a 2 out of 10, and the only reason I'm giving it a 2 is because it's property on the river. But for what I want to do, which is put in a boat, have a boat stored, and have at least a little bit of room to do some activities, definitely not the property for me. So we've got several other properties we're going to look at today, so enjoy this video series as long as it continues till I find something. I'm going to keep showing off all these properties so you can see where my mind is, what all these different places have to offer, show you what I'm planning on, show you where my mind's at, things I like about properties, things that I don't, different locations. We'll take the good properties with the bad properties, look at all of them, and hopefully eventually, sooner than later, we will find something to call our own. So off to the next one. I'm going to sprinkle these videos in between camps every couple weeks or so, and eventually this process will lead to having something of our own where we can bushcraft and hopefully build or rehab a cabin or house and spend a lot of our time, because we're already up in Pennsylvania every other weekend as it is. So one last look. I mean, the view can't be beat and all that, but just literally this is it and that's it. I mean, it's definitely something, but it's a whole lot of nothing in my book. So something, but nothing. We've got other places to go look at. You'll see them when you see them. So eventually it's going to lead to something. I promise you that. Like I said, it's exciting for me to be on the prowl. I think it's cool to showcase the process of finding something. And eventually it's going to lead to my dream, which is to own a piece of riverfront property on the Allegheny, and all the great, amazing stuff and hard work and money and time and sweat that comes with that. So again, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for being here with me, and we will see you on the next one.